So let's start first of all with Alejandro Forero Cuéllar. He's a PhD student at Barcelona University and he works in the prison observatory in Spain. His talk is entitled Prison Movement in Spain, the Experience of the Coordinadora of Spanish Prisoners in Struggle. So, here you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to start by apologizing myself if I'm nervous or I can't speak properly with English. And I think I'm not going to spend the 20 minutes. Okay, first of all, I want to thank Phil for the invitation and Teresa and the organizers for it's a great show of solidarity. That's when they invite me to come and to share this special days with you. Okay, I'm going to talk about the COPEL, but in a special context, because the COPEL was a cooperative of prisons. It was a movement of prisons in a struggle in Spain. But in a moment of change from a dictatorship to democracy, so we have in Spain the civil war from the 36 to 39, then 40 years of dictatorship with Franco. Franco died in 1975, and the new constitution, like democracy, came in December of '78. In these 3 years, from the death of Franco to the Constitution, these 3 years were really, really, really tough and really hard for prisoners. And this is the context of the COPEL. So most of the things I'm going to say of what they ask for now, for us, is like reformist, not abolitionist. But we have to understand that they were living in prisons from a dictatorship. So it's a different context. And what I want to transmit here is I wanted to talk about this because it was really, really a special experience, because it was the COPEL was formed by what we call ordinary or common prisoners, but they say they were social prisoners. And this was the most important thing of the fighting from them, because all the political prisoners get these amnesties and these pardons, and they were struggling because they say, okay, that's the end of the dictatorship, we are going to reform the state. Yes, the Communist Party can return, the anarchists can return, so we are in prison because of economic and social state of things. So we want another opportunity to. We are not anarchists or communists. We don't know nothing about politics, but we are in prison because of a special. So the society came from a dictatorship. So okay, I'm going to read because then I get a little lost. And it's important for me too, because I try to study anarchism in Spain, in Catalonia, and the relation between anarchism and criminology. And when you take these two words, you obviously go to an abolitionist stance. No? Yes. It don't have to be this way, but I'm here because, of course, I'm studying all these topics and I'm really interested on them. And what I think too is the relation between anarchism and abolitionism is on both sides, because we just try to think that abolitionism has some roots in anarchist or in anarchism thinking, ideology. But the anarchist history is the history of the hiding, the darkness So there is like a political attitude to abolish anarchism. You know, I don't know if you understand both ways of the relation. So this is the context of the paper, and the story of the prisoners' struggle in Spain is for this. This is a hidden story, and the story that the books tell us from what happens in the prisons in dictatorship. It's only they tell us about which kind of law exists, but not what the real life of prisoners were. So there's a different periods, and the first one after the war in the 40s, 50s. There's so little writing about this, and so when we study this topic, we have to use the voice from the people who were imprisoned. And there was like diffuse forms of organization. There were like an atmosphere of war. A lot of prisoners were prisoners because of war, of their ideas. And in the 50s, they were 300,000 people imprisoned in Spain. When Spain in the 50s starts to open to the international society, it gets to the United Nations and starts to sign treaties. The international point of view on Spain was focusing two things: in political prisoners and in the denuncias of torture. Franco and the staff they put a special institution called change of work for freedom. So 2 days of work in prison, there was 1 day less from sentence. In this way, there was a lot of people who get out of prison. They do this because they don't want to give an amnesty, a general pardon. And in the mid-50s, there were 30,000 people in prison, 15,000 people in prison. But okay, what is important is that this point of view from the international scene on the political prisoners and the attitude of political prisoners led the common or ordinary prisoners were led aside. And this created a really bad sensation on these other prisoners, and they start to organize to try to find ways to get pardons. And from the 60s, we can start to talk about riots. There's that really big riots, but it was really difficult to communicate between different prisons because it was the dictatorship, and prisoners only know about a riot in another prison because some lawyer told them, or some prisoner who came from another prison, but it was really difficult to organize. So we came to this second period, that is where in the mid-60s the struggle of prisoners entered in a new phase with the first serious attempts to reorganize the workers and popular movement inside prison and outside prison. The prisoners left over from the civil war, the political prisoners, were out or they died in prison. So prison began to enter new political prisoners, and this opens the battlefront in prisons in the way of the struggle for the vindication of the status of political prison.